ensure the safety of all residents and staff. All members of the HRRC and staff are participating from their homes or offices. For members of the commission, please remember to mute your microphone when you are not speaking and raise your hand if you would like to speak. We ask that you do not use the chat function in WebEx as we meet unless you're having technology problems. We will have roll call votes for each motion this evening as well as adjournment. I will ask Rithi Karim to call roll after each motion. I will repeat the motion for the record before we vote, and we'll also repeat who made the motion and seconded. We will have a full agenda again tonight, so please remember those watching, listening in, and your fellow commissioners, and let's try to stay on topic. Before we begin, there are a few things I'd like to cover for those listening in or watching online. The public had two ways to view the meeting tonight. They can watch the live stream on the city's YouTube channel or listen via phone using the WebEx call-in number. There is no community comment during the meeting tonight. The city is committed to hearing and receiving your input on matters. The public can send in comments to the City Council or HRRC through council correspondence, the web forum on our website. The recording of the meeting will also be available to watch on the city's website tomorrow. Go to Watch a Meeting link under the I Want To tab on the homepage. Thanks in advance for your patience as we work to conduct this meeting online using different software types and people all participating from their own homes. We hope that there will not be any issues, but be assured that we will do our best to continue the meeting as best we can if there are any glitches. Thank you to everyone tuning in tonight for your interest in the HRRC and our work in the city. All right. Fellow Kareem, could you call roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Chair Manager.
Oh, here.
Commissioner Ismail. Commissioner Ross.
Here.
Commissioner Felton.
Here.
Commissioner Epstein.
Here.
Commissioner Nelson.
Here.
Commissioner Edwards.
Here.
Commissioner Stringer Moore.
Here.
Student Commissioner Lichtenberger. Student Commissioner Misra.
Here.
Student Commissioner Bourne. That concludes roll call.
Okay, thank you. So the next item on our agenda is approval of the meeting agenda. Is there any discussion about the meeting agenda? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the meeting agenda from Commissioner Epstein and a second by Commissioner Stringer Moore. Can you call the roll, please?
Chair Manager.
Aye.
Commissioner Ross.
Aye.
Commissioner Felton.
Aye.
Commissioner Epstein.
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Stringer Moore.
Aye.
That concludes roll call.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have approval of the meeting minutes from last meeting. Do we have any discussion? Commissioner Misra? Or Mirza?
Typo on section chair and member comments. It says Student Commissioner Lichtenberger shared with the commission the Hair Club has chosen 2 Native American Heritage Month. So I think the 2 seems a little out of place.
Gotcha. I'll fix it.
Good catch. Stringer Moore? Commissioner Stringer Moore?
Yep, under roll call, the comma is not consistent. There needs to be a space between Commissioners Epstein, Ross, Felton, Nelson, Edwards.
Oh, yes. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion to approve with those corrections?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Ross. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Nelson. Fellow Kareem, can you call the roll, please?
Chair Manager.
Aye.
Commissioner Ross.
Aye.
Commissioner Felton.
Aye.
Commissioner Epstein. Commissioner Nelson.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Stringer Moore.
Aye.
Okay, that concludes roll call. Roll call.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on, we have our 2020 work plan. So it's faster in December. So initiative 1, we were not able to complete, was postponed. That was the Days of Remembrance. Initiative 2 is the Tom Oy Award, which is being given tonight at the City Council meeting at 7 o'clock. I hope everyone is able to attend. The link is on the city website. Is that correct, Heidi?
Yes.
Is there a special spot to find it?
If they go to the excuse me, I just lost my page. Under government, under city council, watch a city meeting. There is a header for the Edina city council meeting. And once that becomes available, or once it's streaming, there will be a link to go ahead and watch it.
Okay, so the link isn't available until
Now,
starts.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any further discussion about the Tom Oy Award? All right, moving on to initiative 3.
I have a question. Sorry, Commissioner.
Oh, sure.
When will they get their certificates, Heidi?
I am just waiting on one more address, and that's for the Edina High School Black Students Union, so then that can be dropped off. But I did get the address for Rachel and Rebecca. So once I get the third address, I'll go ahead and drop that off.
Okay, if you want me to drop them off, I can do it this weekend. So let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Any further discussion? Okay. Initiative 3 was the sharing values, sharing communities, and that's been completed. Initiative 4 is the rubric for the arts, which has also been completed. Initiative 5 is the Parks and Rec identifying barriers, which I think was returned to the Parks and Rec staff. Initiative 6 is the bias offense review. Are there any updates for that?
We did meet as a group, and we finalized the document, which we believe will be our final document. There's 2 edits that we had that were different than Chief Nelson's. And so, Heidi, are we sending those back to Chief Nelson, and now he's going to approve? Because I don't know, I saw that email you did, which was a great summary, but I didn't know if he was copied on that, or he asked, what's the next step?
He was copied on that, and this afternoon he actually sent me a response back to that. So I haven't gotten a chance to take a look at what his response is.
Okay, so we're in good shape there. We'll get the response from the chief, see if he liked our ideas or if he wants to make another change to them. And then we're also in the process of scheduling our quarterly meetings with Chief Nelson, or figuring out also what the format of those meetings will be, whether there'll be a formal meeting where we all meet with the chief on WebEx, or if we're going to do maybe something informal where he just gives us a summary report. So,
Can I ask?
Go ahead, Jim.
Heidi, I don't remember seeing the email you're referencing. Maybe I wasn't on it, or if I was, I just missed it. But did you redo a more or less clean draft too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to resend it to you, Commissioner Nelson, because it had like the summary on there and then the clean draft.
Okay, I must have missed it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I can send it to you again if you'd like, Commissioner Nelson.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Thanks.
And Commissioner Ross, were you able to get it as well? Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, is there any further discussion? It sounds like there's been great progress this year on the bias offense approach. All right. Initiative 7 was celebrating the 50th anniversary of the HRC, and that has been completed. Initiative 8 is the Housing Task Force Comprehensive Housing Policy using a race and equity lens. So we received that report last week, or I guess the week before. And then that task force was our guest last meeting along with the Planning Commission. There's since been some back and forth, some questions about the questions that I had raised. So I would like to meet with Stephanie Hawkinson. I forget what her formal title is. I think of her as doing housing stuff, but I forget what her actual title is.
It's the Affordable Housing Development Manager.
So if anybody would like to join me in that conversation, I would appreciate that. So I don't know if anybody's interested. The document is pretty big. It's 70 pages. But I did raise a couple of points that seem to be in question. So I would appreciate someone coming along with me in that conversation. But I understand it's late in the year and people might not have time.
Can we connect offline?
Yeah, absolutely. So Commissioner Stringer-Moore and Commissioner Felton, you might have interest. Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Just a point, sorry guys, this is MJ, is that if it's something that's related to what potentially would be in her report that will go to the HRA, that has to be done by Friday morning. Just a heads up. But maybe it's not. Maybe it could still be a follow-up after that is presented to the HRA, that you guys talk a little bit more about some of those things, because all they're going to be really doing is receiving it. There's not really an action or direction to do anything based off of those recommendations.
Okay.
And
I can't meet this week, Chair Behringer, so if someone else has I can't.
Does that maybe still work for you, Commissioner Felton?
We're good.
Okay.
Chair Behringer, I did send a message to Stephanie Hawkinson to indicate that you'd like to meet with her. So
Okay.
She's been notified.
Thank you. All right. So then initiative 9 is also not something that we are. So let's see, we're moving on to the 2021 work plan. And MJ, you were gonna make an introduction?
I am. Reese or Heidi, can one of you guys give me permissions to share my screen? While she's working on that, it's nice to see all you guys. It's been a long time. I am just here to do a little bit background, give you some information when it comes to our citywide work plan development. Because as you can tell, I think you probably were provided a link to at least review your work plan that's about to be approved a little bit later tonight. It is on the consent agenda, so pretty much what you guys were able to see in the packet is your work plan that's gonna be approved and that you'll be receiving to start working on in 2021. But I just want you guys to understand that this is a really big process that we do, and that the commissions is a component of it, but there's all these other documents and guiding principles that kind of get us down to making sure that we can handle the workload that we have and it all aligns with our goals, our budget goals with the city and what city council priorities are. So we lost Reese. Is there something you can do?
MJ.
No, I'm here. I'm trying to figure it out. We've been having trouble with it, and Ryan's trying to figure it out. But for some reason, I'm the only one that can share on here.
MJ, can you send your presentation to Reese, please?
Yeah. Do you want me? I'll email it to you. Is that okay, Reese?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Reese, it's on its way. you guys have a hard time with city council, right? Too? Okay. This won't take long. Perfect. Okay, so on the next slide, Reese, there is a graphic that kind of shows you how this all trickles down. And so most of you are familiar with our strategic documents that we have, our Vision Edina that we did many years ago, the comprehensive plan, which you were very much involved in, and also our capital improvement plan. It's really those documents that help us determine what our overall budget work plan is, which is also like AKA kind of our citywide work plan. And our budget work plan is on a 2-year process. From there, that informs our department work plans in addition to the commission work plans. You can see the commissions are highlighted in yellow. Those are both annual work plans. And then from our department work plans comes our employee work plan. So when we're actually developing these work plans, we really need to be conscious of the amount of work that we're putting on them so that we can feel like they're achievable and we have the right resources, and that we are definitely giving the priority to the initiatives that align with all the other goals. Go next slide, Reese. This more or less shows you who approves them and who you are accountable to. So obviously, City Council approves their 2-year budget plan. The city manager is accountable for completing that. Our annual department work plans, again, the city manager approves those. The department directors are in charge of those, and our individual work plans, like myself, I'm in charge of it, but my manager is the one who approves it. Your annual commission work plan is approved by City Council, which is happening tonight, and that's who you guys are actually accountable to when it comes to that work. The next slide actually shows our 4 city budget goals. You maybe have seen these. We actually have tried to highlight these a little bit more, even in some of our communications. But these are the 4 overarching goals, and then all of the strategic objectives actually live underneath them. You go to the next slide. In addition to those 4 goals, the City Council has actually vetted value statements around engagement, which is my area, sustainability, which we have a new sustainability coordinator, Grace, and of course equity, so that Heidi was part of this value statement as well. And we just want to bring this to your attention because these are 3 things that we're trying to bring to the forefront as we're making decisions and doing our work. And we're hoping to kind of integrate these a little bit more, and even asking our commissions to kind of think about these statements as they're doing their work and how to use the lenses around these. So you'll probably see these pop up again at some point later in 2021 for you as well. The next slide shows where we're at. It's almost January. You guys are getting your work plan approved today, so most likely you'll start talking about this, but really that work plan starts in January. And again, we'll start the whole process over in the summer where you guys will start talking about your 2022 work plan process. But like we've done in the past, you submit those, the chairs present them to City Council, then staff makes some recommendations, and then they're brought to Council for final approval. You can go, Reese. So here's the process that kind of happens in between that when Kat brought them to City Council and then staff made some recommendations. We have to take all of these work plans and put them together and kind of figure out how they align. And typically there are like some themes that keep popping up throughout our commissions when it comes to like why we are making these recommendations. So we did present this content to City Council alongside of all of our recommendations. If you read the staff report that I submit with the approval of the work plans, it gives a little bit more detail about what these themes mean. But we definitely have interest in cross-commission committees. We've found over time it's been kind of confusing, so we kind of not eliminated it, but kind of just rearranged how we did it. We want to make sure that there's alignment with our city goals and work plans, and that we have the resources, because again, as you saw on one of those first slides, your work plan does impact department work plans as well. Like think about communications. That they need to support all these different initiatives that live through all these work plans. That is not just what's on their own department work plan. They also fold into other places. Defining roles. City staff is in charge of operations. Council is really that decision maker, and that commissions are in that advisory. And so what is the true, like, tangible deliverable that we're asking commissions to provide back to City Council? And the number of events, as I mentioned, HRC has several events, and there are lots of other commissions that have other events, and we've noticed that sometimes we kind of compete, and then when we try to put these in and fold these into our public meetings, our religious holiday observances, we tend to have a lot to offer, and so we have to kind of figure out how many events we feel like we can take on for the year as well. Lisa, you can go next one. Or it might be even the end. Yes, it is the end. So I just want to give you that information because obviously your work plan is going to look a little bit different than how it was originally proposed. And maybe you've already peeked at it, but I want you guys to understand why and like how we actually get to this final approval process. Questions? Nothing. They're excited for their 2021 work plan and talk about it, right? All right. Well, then if there are no questions, if something pops up later, give them to Heidi, and she can always reach out to me, and she probably knows the answers to a lot of this content as well. But I wish you guys luck on your 2021. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, MJ. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is start signing up for which initiatives we'd like to work on. I should let you guys know that I've decided to rotate off. I'm not going to seek reappointment. So it has been wonderful to serve. I've met so many great people. I've learned so much, but for a variety of reasons, I feel like the time is right for me to step down. So. And Commissioner Nelson has also decided that it's time to rotate off. So there'll be 3 open spots when the city seeks to appoint commissioners for the HRC. So, all right, so initiative 1 is to coordinate days of remembrance. Is there anybody that would like to move forward with that initiative?
Chair Behringer, in last month's meeting, it was Commissioner Stringer Moore, Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Epstein, as well as Commissioner Ross, Student Commissioner Mirza, as well as Student Commissioner Lichtenberger did go ahead and volunteer for Days of Remembrance.
Oh, that's right. So this hasn't been updated then.
No, not for that one, because I was waiting to see if there was any changes on the 2021 work plan that was submitted to council. So if there are any changes, I'm sorry?
It's just that one. I'm remembering now.
Yeah.
I'm on board. Okay. So moving on to initiative 2, the Tom White Award. Commissioner Stringer Moore? You're on mute.
Sorry, Commissioner Lee, because I can't find her personal email, could you connect us to former Commissioner Arsenault, because I believe she has that contact information that we need on what was done this year as it pertains to remembrance. It's my understanding that a lot of the heavy lifting was already done, and I just want to circle back with her.
Sure, I can go ahead and do that.
Thank you.
I will send an email with the subcommittee to go ahead and do that. Send that email.
Also, Commissioner Stringer Moore, Michelle was pretty active last year, Meek, with this, and so she may have some info too, if you want to copy her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so far I've got Jasmine. Is there anyone else that's interested? All right, we'll wait to see what happens with our new appointments.
For the Days of Remembrance?
No, for Tomoy?
For Tomoy.
Oh, no, sorry, my question was for Days of Remembrance.
Okay, you were talking about the other one.
Sorry.
Sorry.
My head. Sorry.
I gotcha. Okay, so initiative 2, the Tomoy Award. Is there anybody that's interested?
I'm interested. Don't really want to lead it, but put my name down.
Okay, so Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Mirza. Great.
And Chair Behringer, for initiative number 3, there has been a slight change to that. So initiative 3 and 4 actually are tied together, but they are two separate initiatives. So initiative 3 reads, coordinate 2021 sharing values, sharing community event focused on race, justice, and policing, which is tied into initiative number 4.
Okay. So it's basically the same, it's just that the topic has been chosen.
Yeah, so for 2021, the topic for sharing values, sharing communities has already been chosen, but any future sharing values, sharing communities event has not been chosen. So this is the only year for that to be chosen, or for 2021 to be chosen.
So 3 and 4, that's just one event we're talking about then?
Initiative number 4 reads as complete community conversation about race, justice, and policing. So in the beginning, where there was recommendations, in addition to the community conversation itself, there was some recommendations, whether it was a podcast or some sort of other Amazon like book club. I think that was also a recommendation to figure out what other ways to expand education. So that is particularly number 4.
Okay, so initiative number 3, is there anyone interested in moving ahead with that initiative? The sharing values community focused on race, justice, and policing.
You can put me down.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to initiative 4. Race, justice, and policing community awareness plan and implementation, as Heidi just explained. Is there anyone interested in moving ahead with that? Okay, Commissioner Felton and Commissioner Mirza. Okay. Initiative 5 is the bias offense. Is there anyone interested? Okay, Commissioner Ross.
Can stay on that one, or
Okay, and Commissioner Edwards. Did I get everyone?
Commissioner Epstein.
Yep, I have Ross, Epstein, and Edwards. Okay. All right, initiative 6, review and comment on a plan developed by Parks and Rec and race and equity staff to identify barriers for participation and reach communities of color through different modes and feedback. Is there anybody interested in that initiative, initiative 6? Commissioner Moore.
Commissioner Edwards, come back with me.
I will, but I won't try to lead it. It's, herding cats. But
Well, for this one, it actually will be a review and comment. So the Parks and Rec staff, as well as Race and Equity, will be going ahead and providing the plan, and the commissioners will be able to provide feedback on it.
okay.
So it'll be implemented.
All right. My hand's up.
All right, so I have Commissioners Stringer, Moore, Felton, and Edwards for initiative 6. And that is it. So is there any further discussion about the 2021 work plan?
I do have a comment. I will let you know that just looking back on the work plans for the past 3 years that I've been here, as far as coming in the 2019 work plan, the HRC had 11 work plan items. In 2020, the HRC had 9 work plan items, and in 2021, there are 6 items. And so just kind of looking at just the scope of the work that you all have done and previous members have done is a lot of work. And so really thinking about that with the 2021 work plan, there's really a lot of focus of things that interest folks that have had a lot of engagement for the community. So I'm really excited for the 2021 work plan that the HRC has.
Yeah, it feels a lot more manageable, I think. It'll be easier to be productive and focused. So I guess we're moving on to chair and member comments. So I guess I just want to say thank you to everyone. I really appreciated my time here. I'm not really done yet because we don't change until March, but I just wanted to say it's been such an honor and privilege to get to know all of you and do this work with all of you as well. So that's all I have. Commissioner Edwards?
Nope, just trying to stay safe.
Mr. Nelson?
No, I have nothing today.
Commissioner Felton?
No, I have nothing, but I wish you the best, Chair Manager.
Commissioner Stringer-Moore?
Yeah, no, but just thank you to both you, Chair Behringer, and former Chair Nelson for your leadership. But I'm happy we have a few more months. And just a off-the-cuff comment, Commissioner Edwards was probably aware of this, but I did not know that there is now a Rosé Beaujolais.
I don't know. Is it
liquor?
Is it French?
It's a French. I'll send you a picture. But yeah, I was
Please. Yeah, we could only find 5 labels this year, so
there were not. Yeah.
And obviously it was a virtual party, which was kind of awful. So
now I know what people are doing after the meeting.
Actually, it was what the third Thursday. The third
Someone
Thursday.
in my house was upset that you guys didn't cook the food and put it in to-go containers.
We couldn't figure out the logistics of delivering it out on the terrace. You know, it was going to be kind of awful to keep stuff warm.
He said he would run by to pick it up. He said they're not making little bags for us. I said no.
No. That's fine.
Commissioner Epstein?
I'll catch up with you.
I'll echo what everyone else is saying with both Commissioner Nelson and, of course, Commissioner Behringer, that we will have some big shoes to fill, as I say. But, we got a couple more months to squeeze all of your knowledge out of you guys that we can before we let you go. So thank you.
Good luck with that squeeze.
I know where you live, and I got your cell number, so we're...
Commissioner Mirza?
For me.
Okay, and Commissioner Ross?
Nothing except that the city council meeting is also, if you have cable TV, it's on channel 813.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's at 7, is that?
Yeah, it's at 7. And then staff comments.
And so I just wanted to provide just a quick update on the Race and Equity Initiative. That particular update has been on the City Council agenda on, November 17th, and it's under the Q3 business updates. And so I do provide that to City Council. And so I wanted to give you just a really quick overview. So knowing that the Race and Equity Initiative started in 2015 in the city of Edina, and in 2018, with the support and the hard work of the Race and Equity Task Force, there was a recommendation that was provided to City Council in 2018. And so in 2018, there was an implementation plan with 59 items where staff members were going to go ahead and do these items. And so just even looking at the breakdown of all of these things is that in 2018, there were 3 items to be completed. In 2019, of the 59, 44 were set to be completed by staff. So I'm really thinking about the heavy lifting. In 2020, there are 3 items, and there are 8 remaining items that have a be determined date or will be completed in 2021. And so with that work plan, or that massive work plan, is under 5 different themes. And so some of the themes are accountability and data collection, city facilities and services, employee training and diversity, development and enforcement of policies, and community engagement and communications. And so those within those 59 work plans, there's a theme of that. And so as I'm looking on the Q3 update that is in the city council packet, there were 51 items that were on there, whether it was from 2018, 2019, and 2020. And so of those items, 28 have been completed. 16 of them are in progress. 5 of them are still ongoing. 1 of them has not been started, and 1 has not been completed. And so, for example, one of the one that is not completed is due to the quality of life survey. For example, some of the data or the disaggregated data we were not able to complete because the sample size was not large enough. And so that is why it's indicated as not completed. But really thinking about the work plan itself, there's such a vastness of work plan items that is technical items that can be done by staff, but there's also a portion of how do we embed race and equity work so that it's sustainable and it builds capacity. And so that is one of the things that I work on is really thinking about in 2021, having foundational training for as a reset for all staff members. One of the things that I wanted to do for 2020 was really have that training for staff members. However, due to COVID and a lot of the things that happened this year, as I say, it's pivoting. And so it's really looking at what does 2021 hold for us. And so I'm working with folks to really think about how can training be delivered virtually so that folks, staff members have that ability. So that's one of my focus in 2020 as well as 2021. And then also working with the racial equity advancement team and how are they advancing the work. And so I wanted to give you some very high level examples of things that are being done and giving you in a sense, what does the explanation look like, right? Because some of the items that are on the work plan update do not necessarily reflect everything that is happening. Because in that work plan response, that narrative is only 2 to 3 sentences. And so there could be things that may be not fully explained in that. And so, for example, under accountability and data, there is a work plan item, which is to disaggregate or to take a look at investigate available data to disaggregate maps of resident population by race and see how this data can be used for allocating funds through the city. However, that includes the capital improvement plan, which is the CIP. It can also include the PACS fund, which is the pedestrian and cycle safety fund, which is the walkways or the sidewalks, and then operating. And so that encompasses many, many budgetary pieces that are within different departments. And so for that is currently in progress, and that is a continuation from 2020, or excuse me, from 2019. However, there is work that's being done through the tax fund. And so they've actually gone through and created criterias. For example, looking at the communities, the public school education or education facilities that are near there, looking at the racial demographics, the age population to be able to assign categories or values to be able to start prioritizing. So that is one function within that particular work plan. But it doesn't necessarily speak that to the fact that it's not completed because it's one section. Once the PACS funding has been completed and that prioritization has been looked at, then we're moving on to the other function, which is the CIP or operating. So really looking at the work plan scaffolds in many different ways. For example, the city facilities and services, that was a lot of work in the HRC. So for example, thinking about the arts and decor rubric, that was completed this year. really thinking about the Yancey Park renaming that was approved this year. So really thinking about that there are a lot of moving parts for this, and that has been marked as, those two items have been marked as completed. For example, with the employee training and diversity, the city assess any job and will revise any job descriptions. And so it isn't a major overhaul with job description. It's a systemic revision. So whenever there is a job available, that is when they'll go ahead and take a look at it because job descriptions do change frequently. So it is a one-by-one process and it's not an overhaul. And so I have two more examples. So for example, with the development and enforcement of policies, there is one that is reviewing the zoning regulations through a race and equity lens to change or remove language that may contribute to racial disparities. I've had conversations with the community development director, and one of the things that they've done this past year is indicate that there is a lot of zoning regulations. And again, it's a major overhaul, right? And so one of the things that they were able to go ahead and have approved by council is to have the variance or having a single stall garage be something that is no longer requires a variance. Before with the zoning ordinance, it was required to have a two-car garage with a tear down and rebuild. So now it's been approved where folks can have a single stall garage. So in the 2021, they're going to go ahead and take a look at 3 more zoning ordinances and see in what ways are there possibilities to remove this discriminatory language on there. So there is progress on the race and equity work plan. It does say continuation, right? So thinking about the fact that with that narrative, it doesn't necessarily match the work or all of the work that has been done, but there is being work completed. And then the last example that I have is community engagement and communications. And so that is listed as the city will develop plain language and limited English proficiency communications. And last year, some of the HRC commissioners did go ahead and review that policy. And so you'll notice that within that particular work plan, there's 2 policies happening at the same time. And so they have to be crafted. And I'm happy to say that those 2 policies have been approved. For example, the limited English proficiency is allowing or gives our staff members resources through the language line. If there is a customer or a community member that may need additional languages, staff members have that access. So really thinking about that, while the race and equity plan is large, there are things that are being done to ensure that it's building capacity and it's being scaffolded. I know in our previous conversations, you have asked about the police department items that are on the work plan. And so as I'm taking a look at the Q3 work plan item, all of those things have been listed as completed. Some of those did continue over from 2019. For example, a lot of the work that was on the race and equity work plan was looking at their policies and having those posted on the city website to be able to build transparency. And so those are on the website right now. So that is my update. I know that was pretty long, but I wanted to make sure that you all are aware that that work is occurring. And those narratives that are on the race and equity work plan may not necessarily match to be able to hear the depth of work that the staff members in the city are doing.
Thank you for that update, Heidi. Reese, did you have anything?
No, I do not.
Okay. So then do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn from Commissioner Ross. Do I have a second?
Second.
Was that from Commissioner Nelson? Okay. So I have a second from Commissioner Nelson. Reese, would you call roll, please?
Chair Bellinger,
Aye.
Commissioner Ross,
Aye.
Commissioner Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Epstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Stringer Moore,
Aye.
and that concludes roll call.
Thank you. So the motion carries and we are dismissed. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Happy holidays, whatever you
Oh, thank
celebrate.
you.
Happy everything.